Why this court decision matters for millions of Americans today, we begin with one of the most important developments impacting seniors, families, and low-income households across the United States. For weeks, millions of Americans have been anxious, wondering whether their SNAP benefits would arrive this November. Many worried about grocery money, rising food prices, and how they would provide for their families as the holiday season approaches. But now, a major court ruling has stepped in, not as a suggestion, but as a firm legal order, requiring that November SNAP benefits must be issued. This is not just government paperwork. This is protection for people who depend on help to simply put food on the table, for seniors living on fixed incomes, for parents stretching every dollar, and for families trying to keep meals steady during colder months. This ruling means stability. It means someone with authority is finally saying, your benefits must arrive, your needs cannot be ignored. In today's story, we look deeper into why the court had to intervene, what this ruling means, and how it ensures food support is delivered on time. This is not politics. This is about dignity, security, and the basic right to eat, and something every American deserves. Understanding SNAP and why it exists. Before we go any deeper into the court's ruling, it is important to take a moment and understand exactly what SNAP is and why it exists. SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, was created to make sure that no American, especially seniors, children, or people with disabilities, goes hungry simply because their income is too low. It is not a luxury. It is not a bonus. It is a basic line of support that helps millions maintain a healthy, stable life. SNAP benefits are delivered each month through an EBT card, which functions like a debit card but can only be used to purchase food. For many households, this program fills the gap between what they earn and what groceries actually cost. And as food prices continue to rise, SNAP becomes even more essential. For older Americans living on fixed Social Security checks, for families working multiple jobs just to stay afloat, and for individuals unable to work due to medical conditions, SNAP is often the only reason there is food on the table every day. This court decision matters because SNAP isn't optional. It is a guaranteed federal promise. And when that promise is threatened, millions of people face real hardship. That is why understanding SNAP's purpose helps us understand why the court had to step in when delays became a risk. Why delays in SNAP benefits are so dangerous. Now that we understand why SNAP exists, let's talk about why delays in SNAP benefits can become such a serious crisis for millions of Americans. For many families, these benefits are not just financial support. They are the foundation of their monthly food supply. When benefits arrive late, there is no backup plan. There are no savings to dip into. There is simply an empty pantry and growing worry. In the past, states have struggled with technical problems, staffing shortages, and system errors that cause delays. When this happens, it leaves seniors choosing between food and medications, parents skipping meals so their children can eat, and individuals with disabilities falling into dangerous health situations because they cannot afford proper nutrition. A delay of even a few days can create a domino effect. Missed meals, increased stress, higher medical risks, and emotional strain on entire households. For older adults, lack of food can lead to weakness, dizziness, or medical complications that require hospital care. For children, it can affect mood, learning ability, and growth. This is why the court's intervention is not merely legal paperwork, and it is a lifeline. When millions depend on a program every single month, the timing of those benefits becomes a matter of survival, not convenience. What the court's ruling actually says. The court's ruling is more than a simple reminder. It is a direct order with real legal weight behind it. In this decision, the court makes it absolutely clear that SNAP benefits for November must be issued without delay and without excuse. Courts do not step in unless there is convincing evidence that something might go wrong, and in this case, the risk was significant enough for the judge to take action. The ruling essentially tells government agencies, you have a legal duty to deliver these benefits and you cannot fall behind. It forces the system to operate at full responsibility, ensuring no family, senior, or individual goes without the support they rely on. This is not a suggestion or a friendly nudge. A court order is binding. If the government fails to comply, consequences follow, including fines, investigations, and legal accountability. That is how seriously the court views the importance of food support for Americans. By issuing this ruling, the court is standing up for households that cannot afford delays, especially during a month when food needs increase and weather conditions add even more pressure. It is a protective measure ensuring that November's benefits are guaranteed and legally secured. What this means for SNAP recipients right now, for anyone who depends on SNAP, especially seniors, low-income families, and individuals with disabilities. This court ruling offers something incredibly important: certainty. It means that no matter what issues have been happening behind the scenes, your November benefits are now backed by the authority of a federal court. The government is legally required to issue those benefits, and that gives millions of Americans real peace of mind. For many households, even the fear of delayed benefits causes stress. People start to ration food, skip meals, or stretch what little they have simply because they're unsure whether the next month's assistance will arrive on time. But with this ruling, that fear becomes much smaller. Seniors who rely on SNAP to balance fixed Social Security checks can breathe easier. Parents juggling bills and grocery costs know help is coming. Individuals living with disabilities have assurance that their basic needs won't be ignored. The court is essentially acting as a watchdog, standing beside recipients and demanding that the government keeps its promise. This level of protection is rare, but it shows how important SNAP is and how deeply the courts understand the consequences of missing even 1 month of benefits. Why November is such a critical month. November is not just another month on the calendar. It is a period when the stakes are much higher for millions of Americans. Food needs naturally increase during colder months, heating bills begin to rise, and many families start preparing for holiday gatherings, even if those gatherings are modest. For seniors on fixed incomes, the arrival of winter often means choosing between groceries, medication, or heating their homes. This is why a delay in SNAP benefits during November could create hardship far more severe than at other times of the year. A missed payment doesn't just mean fewer meals, it can mean a complete breakdown in a household's stability. Children may lose access to nutritious meals, older adults may face health risks from inadequate food, and families already stretched thin may find themselves unable to cope. The court clearly understood these seasonal pressures when issuing the ruling. Judges do not intervene unless the situation is serious, and in November, the seriousness is undeniable. Ensuring benefits arrive on time helps protect household health, safety, and well-being during a month when financial stress is at its highest. This decision was not only legal, it was compassionate, timely, and necessary. How the court holds the government accountable. When a federal court issues an order, it is not symbolic. It carries real legal consequences. In this ruling, the court made it clear that the government must act and must act correctly to ensure SNAP benefits for November are delivered on schedule. If government agencies fail to comply, they can face legal penalties, official investigations, and public accountability. This level of oversight matters because SNAP is not a luxury program. It is a promised benefit defined by law. When millions of Americans depend on it for basic nutrition, any lapse or delay becomes a violation of that promise. Courts have the power to step in when government systems fall short, and that is exactly what happened here. For seniors living on Social Security, for disabled individuals unable to work, and for families struggling to meet rising costs, this accountability is more than legal procedure. It is protection. It forces agencies to prioritize the needs of vulnerable Americans above administrative challenges or internal delays. The court's message is simple. People are depending on you. Follow the law. Deliver the benefits. This strong stance ensures that those who rely on SNAP will not be overlooked or forgotten, especially during a critical month like November. Who depends on SNAP the most? To understand the true impact of this court decision, we must recognize who relies on SNAP every single month. SNAP is not just for one group. It supports a broad range of Americans facing different challenges, yet all sharing a common need: reliable access to food. A large portion of SNAP recipients are older adults living on fixed incomes. Many rely solely on Social Security, which often isn't enough to cover rising grocery costs. For them, SNAP helps fill the gap between what they have and what they need to stay healthy. Another major group is children. Millions of kids live in households where SNAP benefits ensure they receive nutritious meals during crucial stages of growth and development. Without these benefits, many would face hunger, weakened immune systems, and difficulty focusing in school. People with disabilities, veterans, and individuals unable to work are also heavily dependent on SNAP. For them, consistent access to food is essential for maintaining medical conditions and energy levels. And finally, there are working families, parents holding down multiple jobs but still earning too little to cover housing, bills, and food. This ruling applies to every one of these groups, making it one of the most important decisions affecting American households this month. Why the court needed to step in. A natural question many people ask is, why would a court even need to get involved in the first place? After all, SNAP benefits are guaranteed by law and should be issued automatically. But in reality, government systems sometimes struggle behind the scenes. In recent months and past years, states have dealt with a mix of issues: outdated computer systems, staffing shortages, slow processing times, and administrative errors. Even small problems inside the system can cause big disruptions for millions of people waiting for benefits. When there is evidence that a delay could happen again, or when complaints begin to rise, advocacy groups and concerned citizens take action. They bring these issues to court and ask a judge to intervene. That's when the legal system steps in to protect people's rights. And the court, in this case, reviewed reports, data, and real stories from families who experienced delays. After weighing all the evidence, the judge decided that the best way to prevent hardship was to issue a direct order requiring November benefits to be delivered on time. This wasn't done lightly. Courts only intervene when the situation truly demands it, and in this case, the risk to millions of households was simply too great to ignore. How a SNAP case reaches the courtroom. Before a judge can issue an order like this, a formal legal process must take place. It begins when individuals, families, or advocacy organizations file a complaint explaining that people are at risk of losing access to food because benefits may be delayed. These groups gather evidence, missed payments, system failures, or repeated delays to show that the problem is not hypothetical, but real and ongoing. Once the complaint is filed, the government is required to respond. Agencies involved in managing SNAP must explain their side: what happened, what went wrong, or why they believe delays will not occur. The court reviews both perspectives carefully. Judges also consider the human impact. They look at how many people could be affected, whether families might go hungry, and whether vulnerable groups like seniors or children face health risks. When the stakes are this high, the court's responsibility becomes clear: protect the people. After reviewing all information, the judge issues a ruling. In this case, the ruling was firm and decisive. SNAP benefits for November must be issued on time. This legal process ensures fairness and accountability in a system where mistakes can have life-changing consequences. What this means for your EBT card in November. Now that the court has ordered SNAP benefits to be issued, what does that mean for your EBT card and your monthly routine? In practical terms, it means that you should expect your November benefits to show up on the exact date your state normally deposits them. Each state follows its own schedule, often based on case numbers, birthdays, or application dates. But whatever your state's rule is, the payment must arrive on time. For seniors who plan their grocery trips around specific deposit dates, this ruling prevents last-minute surprises. For families budgeting down to the dollar, it means meals can be planned confidently. And for people with health conditions requiring specific diets, it ensures that nutritious food remains accessible without interruption. Behind the scenes, the ruling forces state SNAP offices to check their systems, verify processing schedules, and correct any potential issues before they affect recipients. It creates an environment where the government must treat benefit delivery as urgent, not optional. So when November arrives, your EBT card should function normally. You should be able to buy groceries, prepare meals, and manage your household without fear of missing support. This stability is exactly what the court intended when issuing the order. Protecting food security for millions of households. Food security means knowing that you will have enough food to live a healthy, stable life, not just today, but tomorrow and the weeks ahead. When SNAP benefits arrive late, that security disappears. Families begin rationing food, seniors may skip meals, parents might choose cheaper, less nutritious options just to stretch what little they have. These choices can have long-term health consequences. The court understood this. That is why the ruling focused not only on legal compliance, but also on protecting the basic well-being of millions of Americans. Ensuring SNAP benefits arrive on time directly strengthens food security and prevents a ripple effect of hardship. For children, timely benefits mean steady nutrition that supports learning, growth, and emotional stability. For seniors, it helps maintain energy, health, and independence. For individuals with disabilities, it ensures access to the foods they need for medical conditions, treatments, and daily strength. Food security is a cornerstone of a functioning society. When households do not know where their next meal is coming from, stress rises and health declines. The court's decision helps stabilize entire communities by making sure that the lifeline of food assistance remains unbroken, especially in a crucial month like November. How states must respond to the court's order. Even though SNAP is a federal program, each state is responsible for operating its own system, processing applications, managing EBT deposits, and ensuring payments go out on time. When the court issues a ruling like this, it places significant pressure on every state to make sure their systems are functioning properly. This ruling sends a clear message. There is no room for technical glitches, worker shortages, or administrative delays this month. States are expected to double-check their computer systems, ensure processing teams are properly staffed, and confirm that all scheduled deposits will be delivered without interruption. For many states, this means stepping up operations behind the scenes, running extra system tests, reallocating staff, and responding faster to reported issues. With the court watching, any mistake or delay becomes more serious because states could face legal consequences if they fail to comply. Most importantly, this increased oversight is designed to protect the people who depend on SNAP the most: seniors who rely on timely deposits, families struggling with rising food prices, and individuals facing medical challenges cannot afford bureaucratic slip-ups. The ruling ensures that states understand the human impact behind every missed or delayed payment. What to do if your November benefits do not arrive? Even with the court order in place, it is still important to know what steps to take if your November SNAP benefits do not show up on time. First, and most importantly, do not panic, but also do not wait. If you believe your benefits should have been deposited and they are not on your EBT card, you need to take action right away. Your first step is to contact your state's SNAP office. The phone number is usually printed on your approval letter, your EBT card, or available on your state's official website. When you call, explain clearly that your benefits did not arrive on the scheduled date and request an immediate review of your case. Because of the court ruling, states are expected to treat these reports with higher urgency. Make sure to write down the date of your call, the name of the person you spoke with, and what they told you. These notes may help if the issue needs additional follow-up. If the problem persists, local nonprofits, community organizations, and legal aid groups can step in to advocate for you. Many of these organizations specialize in helping seniors, low-income families, and people with disabilities resolve benefit issues quickly. Remember, you have rights, and this court order strengthens those rights. If your benefits are late, you are entitled to answers and to timely support. Why court intervention is becoming more common. In recent years, courts have been stepping in more frequently to address problems within government assistance programs, including SNAP. This is not because courts want more power. It's because the systems responsible for serving millions of Americans are often overwhelmed, outdated, or underfunded. When these systems struggle, the people who suffer the most are those who can least afford disruptions. As populations grow and economic pressures increase, state agencies face rising demands. Computer systems built decades ago may not keep up with today's workload. Staffing shortages can cause backlogs, and administrative mistakes, even small ones, can leave thousands without the food support they depend on. When these problems continue without improvement, courts are sometimes the only avenue left to protect people's rights. Advocacy groups, community organizations, and citizens bring evidence forward, asking judges to enforce laws that guarantee essential benefits. And because food is a basic necessity, courts take these cases seriously. The court's ruling about November SNAP benefits is part of a larger trend, a reminder that the legal system remains a critical safeguard when government operations fall short. It ensures that vulnerable Americans are not left behind even when the system is under stress. And it sends a powerful message: help must arrive no matter what. The bigger message behind the court's decision. Beyond ensuring November benefits are delivered, this ruling carries a much deeper message about how our democracy works and how vulnerable Americans are protected. The court's action reminds us that government programs are not favors. They are legal obligations created to support citizens during difficult times. When these obligations are not met, the courts become a powerful tool for accountability. For seniors, people with disabilities, veterans, and low-income families, this ruling reinforces an important truth: you are not forgotten. Even when systems fail, the legal process provides a pathway to demand fairness and proper treatment. It shows that every individual, regardless of income or circumstance, has rights that must be honored. This decision also highlights the strength of community voices. Many cases that reach the courtroom begin with ordinary people speaking up, reporting delays, sharing their struggles, or seeking help from advocacy groups. When their stories reach a judge, they carry real weight. Most importantly, the ruling reaffirms that no American should live in fear of going hungry because of government inaction. The court has drawn a clear line. Benefits must be delivered, and the well-being of the people must come first. It is a message rooted in dignity, justice, and human need. Long-term impact of this ruling on SNAP and government programs. The court's decision doesn't just solve a short-term problem, it may shape how government agencies operate in the months and years ahead. When a judge steps in and orders benefits to be issued on time, it sends a strong message to federal and state leaders. Improvement is not optional. This ruling could push agencies to upgrade outdated computer systems, improve training for staff, and redesign processes that have caused delays in the past. States may become more proactive, testing systems earlier, identifying weaknesses sooner, and responding more quickly to reports from the public. All of this helps reduce the risk of future delays, not just for SNAP, but for other programs like Medicaid, Social Security support services, and disability-related benefits. The decision also empowers advocacy groups. When courts support their efforts, these organizations become even more effective at protecting families, seniors, and vulnerable communities. They now know that when problems arise, the legal system is willing to step in and enforce the law. Most importantly, this ruling sets a precedent. It tells government agencies nationwide that when it comes to essential benefits, especially food assistance, there is zero room for error. Millions of Americans depend on these programs, and the courts are watching to ensure their rights are upheld. What this means for you and your family. Moving forward. As we conclude this important update, let's take a moment to reflect on what this court ruling truly means for you, your loved ones, and millions of households across the country. The message is simple, powerful, and reassuring. Your November SNAP benefits are protected. The court has stepped in, the government has been reminded of its legal duty, and your food assistance must be delivered on time. For many seniors, this ruling brings peace of mind. It means you do not have to worry about missing meals or stretching groceries past their limit. For parents, it means your children will continue receiving the nutrition they need. For individuals with disabilities, it ensures stability during a month when rising costs and cold weather add extra pressure. This decision also reminds us of something bigger, that the legal system is here to protect everyday Americans. When systems fail or delays threaten families, the courts can and will intervene. Your voice matters, your needs matter, and when necessary, the law will stand with you. As you move through November, you can approach your grocery planning with confidence. And if you know someone who depends on SNAP, share this information with them. No one should feel alone or uncertain during a time as important as this. Thank you for caring, for staying informed, and for standing strong with your community.